Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boston by Night. As the car drives slowly, there's an air of, I wouldn't say dread, but mystery as it pulls slowly across each Boston street, past each window. Again, the nefarious cargo of a dead body is always something that requires a careful driving. You just can't help, you just have to take care of the right things. As Alice sits there, awkwardly in her work van, she finds a strange sensation. Because she's not driving it mainly. The man in suit with slicked back hair and very detailed tattoos on his hands drives solely silently. The radio doesn't play any music, but he seems pleasant company. But there is a slow drive. And you get the feeling you're not driving to where your van would normally be dropped off. Driving somewhere else. But you're not quite sure where, but you don't feel like everything's threatening. Part of you is just like, maybe I shouldn't ask enough questions, but that part of you just can't help but wonder, what did he mean by Undertaker? As you drive in silence.
Yep. It's a world of awkward. To the point that she will kind of, I mean, she doesn't want it to seem nervous, but kind of pulls her phone and toggles through a little bit until there is music playing on the headphones that are down around her neck still. She's not impolite enough to put them up. But the silence and the awkward and the everything is a little much. And she doesn't want to hear or not hear anything. So the music helps, she's sure. So yeah, he'll hear, just the dull roar of whatever the hell, crazy death metal or some shit, um, coming out around the base of her neck. But she just kind of is looking awkwardly, out the windshield, out the side window, um, but never too directly at him.
Mm-hmm. He sits there in silence. Again, he's mean. He is mean looking. I wouldn't say the way Brooks is. There's just this aura of quiet menace about him. Not in the way that you think he's going to attack you. He just radiates calm control, but you definitely radiate an undercurrent of this is a man that is not to be trifled with.
Yeah, all things considered, it's not not an aura she's especially comfortable with. So yeah, she just kind of folds her hands in her laps and she has to chew on her lower lip to not ask where they're going, but no, she keeps quiet and rides along like a good girl because she doesn't know what he's capable of, but he feels like he's capable of a lot, and if nothing else, considering even Brooks kind of treated him with some reverence and Brooks could break her in fucking half.
Brooks, yeah, it was the way that Brooks even talked to him. This is a man that commands respect, you know?
Yeah. So if a man that could probably break her in half by thinking about it really hard treats him with some sort of reverence, yeah, she's just gonna politely and awkwardly and somewhat nervously, you know, ride passenger in her own work van. There's nothing wrong with this. What could possibly go wrong? She will also resist the urge to be rapidly texting and try to console herself with the music.
Eventually, you hear him speak. He speaks with a very, very fine. This isn't thick guttural like Brooks's accent. This is very fine Russian. So you said your name was Alice.
Yes. Yeah. Um, Alice Brigham.
Nods as he turns a corner slowly, carefully. And you are Ivy's, you said.
There's another, you know, kind of. It really is like the tone of like a compliant nod. Yeah.
Good woman.
Faint attempt at a smile. It's pretty weak. She is.
Very friendly. Has different colored hair each time, which is something I'm still getting used to among youth.
Yeah.
Just
Do you
nods to
see
nod.
each other a lot?
We meet occasionally at, at gatherings, and again, politeness is a thing, and she is very polite. It is good to meet such a young one with such respect.
She ponders over this term young one for a hot second. As
I mean,
wheels start turning as far as like the potential for
I
just
mean,
how old any given one of them could be.
judging from this guy, he looks late 30s. Like you see specks of grey in the side of his head as well.
Yeah, and his apparent age is great and all, but that's why the gears are kind of turning because he's saying younger generation, and she's like, or younger people, and she's like, wait a minute, wait. He could be a lot older. Oh, so she's processing.
He finally turns on the radio, and again, very nice Russian violin. Very nice. You're like, whoa. You know what I mean?
Real question is, how the fuck did he find this on the radio? Jesus Christ!
He
But
turns
yeah,
and looks at a specific station. They do old style Russian music.
oh,
We
she
play it.
will.
We usually play at that restaurant.
Oh, you have a restaurant? And she'll be fishing out her phone to turn off the music that's buzzing around her neck.
Da. You should come by sometime. And he gives her a smile, and again, it's the menace just seems to melt away. It's that kind of curve of a smirk, and it just seems to melt away again.
What restaurant? Where in town?
It's up in the north side. It's called the Roman Baths.
Has she heard of this place before?
Only an intelligent streetwise.
Okay. Let's see if the other thing is. No, it's still down. You want me to just like roll in?
Hang on, let me see. Working fine for me. See?
Oh, well, let me look. I don't even see where unless you're doing it in general.
I did in Boston.
No, I'm like, maybe it's just the server it's on, but I'm not getting anything.
Okay.
You can roll for me if you want, just so it's
Yes.
recorded in the right place.
Yeah.
You said intelligence streetwise?
Mm-hmm.
It is 6.
Lovely. You fail. You get 616541.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not quite. You've maybe heard of a Russian restaurant, but you're not quite sure. There's several.
Yeah, it's not something where she's like, oh, I've heard of that. It's pricey or whatever. It's just it's a big city.
Mm-hmm.
I she actually will even look thoughtful as she's trying to pull up, you know, in the mind's eye like what she's heard, what she's seen, and kind of squints a little. I want to say I've heard of it, but I guess I don't get out that way a lot.
Hmm. You smile. Again, very relaxing looking. I suspect you don't. I don't mean any offense, but you don't look like a lady who likes to hang around at restaurants for too long.
Kind of blinks. Because let's face it, if he said hang around bars, that would mean one thing, but hang around restaurants? Bleh?
By the looks of things, you strike me as someone that my granddaughter would like.
Your granddaughter?
Yes, she's very into the punk thing.
Who's that? Because I don't think any of them have actually said that they're Bruja. She has no idea what they are.
She'll just smirk. A little girl named Dawson.
Oh, Dawson.
You've met her.
Uh, yeah, like briefly, but Yeah.
Good. My little Kakulia is doing very well then.
Faint grin. Yeah, I met her, and I guess that makes Ethan.
Ethan, yes. Okay. What's your perception empathy? He's gonna roll his subterfuge.
Her perception empathy is 5.
Okay. 5 dice. See how well you do, because he rolled his minute sub. Succeed with 9, 9, 9, 10. He only got 2 successes.
Hot shit.
Got a really good roll. It's slight. Again, he's good. He's practiced. There's a slight bit of twitch in his eye when you mention Ethan. Just slight twitch. Like you go, that must make Ethan yours, and he just the way he says it goes, yes. But there is that.
There is no following up with fond terms and shit.
It's not anger. It's shame. You catch. Before you catch shame.
Damn.
But again, it's so polite. You know what I mean? You just caught it. You know what I mean?
And she will do her best to not respond to that because, I mean, she liked Ethan. Why would he look like that? But nope. No. So, just because I don't quite get it, what do you mean by hang around restaurants?
Chuckle again. Big deep laugh. I suspect you don't like sitting around for a long time. I expect you're quite impulsive.
That
Gives her
wouldn't
an
be an
arched eyebrow.
unfair guess.
Arched eyebrow. You know what I mean?
She kind of looks off like that wouldn't be an unfair thing to say, but I mean, it's not like going to a restaurant is especially taxing.
I'm just saying, I think you like the fast lane a bit too much. The grin, you see that curve of a smirk? Okay, it's incredibly charming suddenly.
I wouldn't say you're wrong. But who doesn't like going out to a restaurant every now and again?
Well, in that case, you grin. Why don't you stop by sometime?
Sure. Why not?
You can actually, if you can, you can try some authentic Russian cooking.
I can, and sure.
He smiles even broader then. Wonderful. I'll make sure the borscht is nice and thick.
She has no idea what borscht is, but she still grins because that's, that's a heartening thing. It's a hospitable thing to want to feed someone food from your home.
Just make sure you mention that. Well, you're a friend of the owner. Just ask for Romanov. Nobody should bother you.
Okay.
Smiles and nods. Now, as he turns the corner again, what's going to happen is I'm going to pack up your van soon, and you're going to meet a friend of mine. He will take care of your cargo and make sure your vehicle is dropped off back to your work and no questions will be asked. Then I will drop you home. Does this sound agreeable?
What about my car?
Your car will be dropped off.
Oh.
You have my word. He even puts his hand on his chest as he's turning the corner. Again, you notice he's good at driving. Perfect control.
Okay. I mean, it's not like I should bring that back to work. Really? That is not our thing.
I'm already taking care of situations, so...
Yeah.
Does that sound agreeable for you, Miss...
Brigham?
Brigham nods.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Sometimes people get all a bit difficult and sometimes say, oh, no, this... But sometimes it's better to understand. When a friend reaches out his hand and gives situation better control, sometimes often easier.
I mean, yeah, in the end, I don't really see a downside. They might be a little confused when someone else takes the van back, but...
That nobody will ask questions. You have my word.
Okay. Yeah,
Besides, who doesn't have a pleasant drive in the evening?
kind of blinks, shrugs.
This gives her a smile. You know what I mean? Again, very charming.
I don't see a downside so far.
Wonderful. So tell me about yourself, Alice.
Uh, there's not much to tell. I mean, you caught me at work.
Normally, people who say that are like not to talk about themselves often. There's always something, even if, say, you just like going to collect postage stamps.
I'm still adjusting. So I don't know. I liked meeting a handful of people, Rawson and Ethan included. I've only done so much, but it's been exciting. Um, I mean, she kind of looks aside. I don't know. There's my life before this wasn't thrilling. It was a lot of working and a lot of horror movies, and
Or
it's still a lot of working and now a home life, which is nice, and more horror movies.
it's simple then. Some people would be jealous of some simplicity.
It's the home life is not as simple as it sounds, but it's not
It
bad.
it never usually is. Give a small sly wink,
She will grin despite herself.
but
But
you're at
no,
least making it your own, which is a good thing.
I guess, yeah. Learning, doing my best. There's a bit of adjusting still to do, but it's working.
Good. I'm glad to hear that one so new and fresh is having comfortable time. So often in these parts, things can get a bit too hectic for people. It's just good to see you're being taken care of. And taking care of yourself, more importantly.
I do my best, and I've got more functional family now than I did before to support me. So
That's a bit of a chuckle. That Nile and Ivy are an interesting pair.
they definitely are.
Just a small chuckle.
But she kind of shrugs. It's one of those things where she's starting to talk just to kind of fill the silence. Like, I mean, they care. What else can you ask for?
Nothing really. Well, of course, $1 million home and big expensive TV is always nice.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. She like
It does.
shoots the little. Finally, has enough nerve to like kind of give a mildly not sassy, but just more pointed reply, grinning.
Smiles back. No, these things don't hurt, but it is always good to have family who take care of each other in these nights.
It is. It's it's worth everything else.
Good, you have priorities straight. It's good to see. He's pulling up the car very slowly.
I try to have just a lick of sense about me, just a touch. She'll be glancing as he's slowing just to kind of see where they are. She's been trying to keep track.
You are in the north of Boston.
Oh boy.
I'll roll you an intelligence streetwise just so you get there. Because you've been in the Docklands last time with all the gang.
No.
You get fucking five, one, two, three, four successes. You were in Russian territory.
How much does like just the general populace have an idea of? Or I guess in her case, because she's working crime.
Russians own a lot of the docks. Russian mafia.
Ooh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's been several conflicts between them, the Irish mob, and the Italians have been creeping in, but the Russians are a real powerhouse here.
noted.
And you're pulled off. You can see the docks like maybe what, a block away. You just pull up very slightly into the corner of an alleyway. He gets out of the car and just nods at you.
She'll end up flicking kind of a puzzled glance to the docks, and just because, well, she was there not that long ago. But we'll kind of distractedly glance back. Should I stay in or?
It is better if you get out unless you want to go with my friend.
Oh, yeah. And she'll, kind of grab, whatever.
He will
Honestly, she's probably like me and doesn't necessarily carry a purse per se, but shoves her various things in her pockets.
he walks over and holds the door open for you.
Oh, yeah. She'll like go to reach for the handle on autopilot, and the door opens, and she kind of blinks a second or two, and then it's kind of the tentative little grin because, well, that was polite, and yeah, she'll hop out.
He just smiles and inclines his head and closes the door, locks it, and keeps the keys in his hand and goes to stand by the driver's side, crossing his, the way you kind of stand crossing your arms together almost. You know what I mean? Waiting.
Mhm.
Friend should be here in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Well, continue telling me about yourself.
Uh, I I'm really into the new slippers. How about that? Kind of grin.
Smiles. He just smiles. I am into 80s music, so we share a
Nice.
similar devil. We wink.
Hmm.
We did not have a lot of. The American systems have a lot more enjoyable music than Europe.
I believe it.
Smiles. And eventually, you see another car. It's again sleek, sleek BMW, black, like the windows are tinted. Another man gets up. He looks mean. You know what I mean? Leather jacket, slicked back hair, again, but walks over and Romanoff walks towards him, exchanges a few words in Russian. You don't speak Russian, do you not?
No, no, I don't speak
No.
anything.
I will give you a P&E roll though, if you would like.
Sure.
P&E again, 5.
5.
Cake 80. Hey, you got a 7, a 10, and a 10.
Hot shit. You should roll for me all the time.
That is subordinate talking to a boss, and he is nervous talking to the boss.
That may be, but he still is kind of big in the mean customer thing. So she does not walk up with him. She stays butt kind of propped on the car or on the van.
But again, Romanoff's tone is very calm, very because you got 3 6. It's very pointed, very direct. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the man quickly almost scurries past Romanoff, hands Romanoff the keys, and Romanoff hands him your keys.
And she will, as he starts moving towards the van, she'll pop up off where she's leaning at the side and kind of take a slightly more curved route around to Romanov, just because. Bug.
He gets in. Romanoff turns very calmly again. Your keys will be on desk waiting for you when you go into work next.
Okay.
Just nods. I have good relationship with receptionist.
Oh.
Gives her a little smug grin as he holds the door open for her and the BMW.
Oh yeah, she
Would you like to sit in front or back?
It seems weird to sit in the back. Really?
Shrugs.
But yeah. She will, when the door is opened, will fold herself into the seat.
Closes it and loops around and starts the car as 80s music does come on. You know what I mean? As he begins to reverse out, very smooth, very sleek, and then you're gone before you even see what happens to the van.
Yeah. Truth be told, I'd say that she sits very delicately in the car because this is
It's
an
leather.
expensive fucking
It's
car.
nice.
But A, it's
Very
nice,
nice.
and B, she was already kind of tentative the last time around because it was weird to be riding in her own van.
Mm-hmm.
So she's no worse in this one, and she will again, despite herself, kind of grin as the music comes on.
As he's driving along, he'll turn and look over. So, now that you are a bit more acquainted with members of my family, I hope that you don't think that we are chaotic in any way.
Hmm? Oh
Well, you
no.
well you have seen, unfortunately, you have seen incident which does not reflect well.
I mean, that sucked, but no. I mean, I've met what, five of you now, I guess, and that, I mean, it was one accident.
I must ask you a sensitive question, if you
Uh,
permit.
okay.
Donnie hit you, did he?
I can't remember. I don't think he actually managed to lay a hand on her, did he?
Anastasia jumped in the way.
She just kind of lightly shakes her head. No, no, she both times she jumped in front of it. I didn't even have a chance to do anything about it. She just no, she leapt in the way.
But he swung at you.
Well, yeah.
Nods. You see the slightest bit of, like, his fingers flick slightly on the steering wheel.
I mean, he didn't really seem to.
It's almost like he's about to hold up the hand for you to say, no, 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 you don't have to speak. I understand.
She
It just,
kind of just trails off.
it's the way he inclines his head. It's like, no, 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 I understand. That is no excuse.
I mean, we both got kind of freaked out.
It is no excuse for a person to be not responsible for control of themselves
I guess not.
and to behave such disrespect. Shakes his head.
I don't know if he even knew who I was or anything like that.
To allow himself to become so incensed and then to strike at such a thing.
She's just kind of like, fiddling her fingers, looking at her hands type thing, because she kind of feels bad for him, just a touch.
I mean, you get
Because,
the sense this guy's about to get fucked up by especially by the
yeah,
glare this guy gave him. You know what I mean?
she was pissed off, but I mean, this guy owns property and has major influence in the Russian area of town. Bad things are going to happen, and she, despite the fact that she's pretty pissed at Donnie and given a chance would slug him, uh, that's some pretty bad juju.
He will learn lesson in respect and decorum. And I promise you, have word on Romanov. He will treat you with cordiality and respect next time he sees you. And he will apologize.
She just kind of chews her lip for a second and nods, like, okay,
You can roll peony if you would like.
sure, throw it out there for me.
You get two successes, a 9 and a 6.
I,
He means every single word.
oh, she knows he does. It's
And
just,
you
whew.
can tell it's a matter of pride for him. Like
Yep,
he's.
that is why she is not protesting the idea further, because as much as she would love to save Donnie just a bit of that, oh God, that's coming to him, uh, nope, nobody tells Gramps no. She can already tell. So that's why it's just kind of like this awkward nod of acceptance.
But I am glad that you are not harmed.
I mean, I kind of wish it had been me instead of her.
Smiles slightly.
I mean, I appreciate what she did. It was brave, but when she dropped and I realized she was still breathing, I kind of freaked out. They're not meant to take that kind of hurt.
No, they're not. And it's our responsibility to learn the appropriate balance between fighting, but also keeping ourselves not restrained, but in control.
Yeah, of course.
That is lesson that you should learn yourself.
There is, you know what? She may not be a brouhaha, but there's still kind of an awkward pause. And again, she's looking down at her hands. I'm working on it.
But there's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't treat it as something to be ashamed of. Treat it as a driven goal.
I
Don't look at
mean,
it with shame or embarrassment.
it's hard not to.
Of course it is. It's always hard not to do these things. It would not be challenged if it was not hard.
Suppose not.
But treat it as something you want, not something that you lie in shame and curse yourself every night.
No, no, it is what it is. And the best I can do is make it better.
The best you can do is try and have the right attitude towards it.
You know, the lips are kind of curled in and she kind of gives a nod because she doesn't know if they're even talking about the same thing anymore, but what she's talking about is reasonably serious to her, so.
Sometimes rage takes a lot of control, and sometimes the things that affect all of us only take control when we choose to let ourselves be controlled. No matter what you are. Gives her a very gentle smile.
She turns an appreciative, still kind of sheepish, but appreciative little smile to him.
But then again, I am from different time.
Maybe, but if people are dealing with the same new urges and new overwhelming things, I guess time doesn't really change that when you're new. It doesn't matter if you were new now or new, I don't know, centuries ago. It's still a new thing to wrestle with.
It's a good attitude to have. At least you're learning the right one. Just gives her a gentle smile.
I am trying.
But must do more than try.
Yeah.
You must be example. That is a lot of responsibility. But once you do, you save everyone else, but also yourself.
She kind of grins. Again, kind of poking fun at herself as she does so. I feel sorry for anyone who saw me as an example.
Why?
She like pulls some of that hair back behind her ear.
Because you have tattoos and are spunky.
Nah, I don't have any shame for that. I chose these and I like them. And I am who I am, and I like that. But with this stuff,
But you sell yourself short, even though you like it, but you still carry mark of shame on your back.
well, I like who I was. And
Ah,
I'm working on who I am.
ah. Just smiles gently.
That stuff. Nah, that's good. She actually sits up a little straighter because, nah, she has zero shame. Even though it's like full sleeves, full ham. She's got the hair chopped and you can tell it's been dyed back to a dark color type thing. Like it's there is no shame for the overall looks.
But so the way you say it, hmm, he smiles to himself.
I suppose we all have our demons.
It's not that. It's what you think of yourself. It's got nothing to do with your demons.
I mean, is there anyone even in this city fresher than I am? Really?
Few people, probably.
Oh.
Shrug. But it's the way you think about yourself that's going to make it different. You constantly come to terms and think about behind and what you were and how great it was, and now you don't know what, who, where, why. Sometimes you're so scared that you don't even think, but hmm, the
Um,
question is, you turn and look,
I'm feeling my way forward in a dark hall. It's hard to be bold or proud when you're holding onto the wall because you can't see where you're going.
and that's why you turn on the light.
Well, you gotta find the light switch first.
Ah, maybe you've already found it and not realized it yet.
That would be awkward.
Hmm.
She just kind of, it's a very frank statement compared to kind of the more tentative tone she's taken because she doesn't know what kind of, how old he is, what he is. She doesn't know enough about everything. And she gets the general impression that he is, a skyrise above her. But that bit, at least, she says very frankly.
It's more surprising, actually. But that was my experience.
Realizing you'd had your hand on the light switch for a solid 5 minutes before you flicked it.
Realizing that I could have turned on the light anytime I wanted to. I was just too afraid or too unsure of myself to do it.
Hmm.
But smile, different time.
She finally kind of knits her brow the tiniest bit, and he catches finally that curiosity.
Looks at her.
Um, it kind of crops up. No different a time.
Are you asking a man how old he is?
That would be rude.
Let's
She's
just
finally
say
getting a little more impish.
let's just say things were very different. And saying such things with such passion and fury turned from something to be celebrated to ended up you being, well, let's just say there is a lot of things different now. And things. He stops for a bit, looks out the window as he turns the corner again. And things that were once so old were all torn away.
How hard is it?
What do you mean?
I mean, regardless of numbers, things kind of tend to change dramatically over a long enough period of time. Sometimes really violently and very suddenly. What's it like to feel things go from one era to another? How hard is it? I mean,
Depends
if
on
I
your
do things right, I should see it too eventually.
depends on your perspective.
Hmm.
Can be the most joyous thing or the most tragic.
guess so. It's a
As
weird thought.
very, very old, very, very old Russian timey music comes on. You can even tell by the recording.
Like it's a lower quality because they're playing something that was recorded and
Hmm.
only so high a quality originally, and there's nothing you can
Hmm.
do about it.
Yeah. Turns it up. This is, delighted smile.
You'll actually commit a good amount of attention to what's playing, trying to kind of parse out how old it must be if it's like if it sounds like this and they've got, all these programs that can improve quality now, like just trying to kind of hash out like
What would I let you roll for this? Because I'm being nice, Katie.
um
I'm thinking
academics? I don't
academics.
know.
Yeah, I think academics.
So 6.
Six dice for
Clever
Katie.
girl.
Clever girl. 6 dice.
Like for all I know, this is some like ancient Russian ballet type shit that's been around for ages.
Like this card finally given up, so I'll roll it an R20. 6 dice. Eh, 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 eh. Let's see how you do. You
Boop.
get one. You get one success. That's from the Russian Civil War,
How fucking long ago was that?
1920, 1919.
Okay, not heinously long ago.
I'll even give you the song because I could barely find the qualities and stuff like on YouTube, but there is qualities, but I just couldn't find it. But this is a song that is playing. It's a more modern day equivalent, but this is from that era. He smiles to you. Actually see him smile to himself.
I mean, all in all, the sounds very haunting.
He smiles at it almost like something's very fun. There's a fondness there. Like I said, Alice, things can be the most beautiful, and the most tragic.
Because it just depends on where you're standing when it happens.
Oh yes, and it depends on what you do after.
I mean, from what I can tell, you've done well.
I turned on the light.
She gets startled into a grin on that one. So,
Smiles at her.
are you sure you want a punk kid with tattoos that are for fun instead of function hanging around your restaurant?
I'm sure you can dress like a respectable woman.
I mean, most respectable dresses don't have sleeves, unless you mean like old lady respectable. Like,
I'm sure you can dress like a respectable adult. And nobody will bother you in my restaurant.
she's got kind of a teasing smile going. Fair
That,
enough.
that is if you want to come, of course.
Why not? Why would I
Won-
say no?
Wonderful. I will make sure a table is reserved.
When?
Whenever you feel like, and just make sure you say, Alice is here to see Romanov.
He gets a brighter, more earnest, proper smile instead of like a little grin or a little smirk. Yeah, I won't. I won't take long
Just
unless something
nods.
wild happens. I mean,
You are welcome whenever you like. And please, as he pulls up to a block, as I'm assuming you gave him like the precise directions, so he pulls up a block away from Ivy's
Mm-hmm.
and give my regards to your sire. Tell her Romanov, as always, is happy to see her whenever she calls.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. You've been very hospitable.
One must always be polite and respect others as he would like to be treated. And when looking into a beautiful woman, Romanov would always like to be treated nice. You give her a little sly grin.
That gets a real grin because it's so weird when you consider just the seeming physical time gap and then the probably even more extensive actual time gap. It's so strange. It's not bad, it's just odd enough to make her really kind of grin. Flattery too.
Well, it has always been nice to pay a compliment to a beautiful woman. Consider me old-fashioned that way.
Well, I imagine there's no downside really.
Just
Thank you.
inclines his head, and he'll get out of the car and open the door for her as well.
Yeah, this time around she actually just sits and waits for him to go around instead of even thinking about going for the handle because this is obviously a thing for him and why take it away?
He just inclines his head as he closes the door as you get out. Have a pleasant evening, Alice.
I've already had a surprisingly pleasant evening, I suppose, in the end.
Well, at least I could provide that.
You could.
Now I am happy.
Good.
Do you reach to shake his hand, or are you trying to shake his hand?
Um Trying to decide if she has enough of an autopilot for that. Probably. Yeah. She'll put a hand out.
He reciprocates. Again, his grip is steel, like steel. But you do feel this cold twinge off him, when you pull your hand away, there is bits of ice on your hand.
Oh. She will have a comic reaction to that because she hasn't actually encountered that yet.
Condition.
Oh. I mean, I suppose it's fair. I'm warmer than normal, right?
That's why I normally wear gloves. My apologies.
Oh, it's not like it hurt me. I was just
Just
surprised.
nods his head.
Yeah, she'll actually kind of be not upset by it, but kind of enthralled by the fact that like when she glances down at her hand, there's frost kind of snaking its way across the skin. It's not like it's doing her any ill. It's just oh, that happened. That's kind of cool.
Hmm. Well, I suppose you should go home. There are often very bad men about.
Eh, no harm in a little excitement.
Nod, inclines his head.
Be all right.
Good. You start, you know, gives her a sly grin, and turn on the light every once in a while as he's opening his side of the car.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
He slides in and effortlessly drives away.
Then yeah, she'll at least stand on the corner until he's gotten out of sight because I don't know. Some people show up at the house, but they've always been some sort of extended family, so she'll wait to start walking and give just so she doesn't give off a direction besides the street corner.
And Romanoff, for his part, turns up the sad Russian music and just smiles to himself as he's driving down the street.
Oh,
And this is where this scene will end.